Great. Hello, everybody. We are so excited to have you all here, officially kicking off internship season for summer 2024. So congratulations, all of you, for being here and for securing a STEM core internship at this point. So obviously, you're all here for our STEM core intern orientation. A few things to note at the beginning of this call is that this session is scheduled for 1 hour. The second half of today's session will be more geared towards payroll and administrative responsibilities that you will all have in order to be paid this summer. So for those of you who are not being paid by growth sector, you are free to jump off at that point, and I will let you know when we hit that marker. All right. All right, so let's go ahead and get started. Okay, so today's agenda, some things that we will be covering today. And just note that today's session is being recorded, so you will all get the link after today's session so that you can refer back if you have, if you need clarification or want to revisit something. So today we're going to be talking to you a little bit about who growth sector is, if you're not sure. We'll talk a little bit about our partners that we are working with and that many of you will be interning with this summer. We'll talk to you a little bit about some tips to consider as you are moving into internship and research this summer. We will do some housekeeping in terms of items that we will need from all of our interns throughout the summer, including check-ins, submitting testimonials, and surveys and feedback. We'll go a little bit over the difference between a contractor versus an employee. We will review your growth sector offer letter if you received one. And then after that, we will go into the timekeeping aspect for getting you all paid this summer. All right, so hopefully that's what you are here for. But we wanted to start off by saying, congratulations, you did it. I know it was a long process for a lot of you to go through interviewing through growth sector, interviewing with your the employer partners and with the universities that you're doing research, but you did it. And just realize that this is the beginning of your STEM professional career. And it's a huge deal. We're very proud of you, and we want you all to take a moment to recognize that you did something big, and that this is really the beginning of hopefully a long trajectory of employment within engineering, within STEM, and being practitioners in the field. So again, congratulations. All right, so a little bit about who we are. So obviously you all are a part of the STEM core program on your various campuses. And growth sector is essentially the backbone organization who implements the STEM core program. So we work closely with your campuses all over the country to implement the STEM core program. We are meeting with your faculty, your deans, your support specialists, your counselors to help implement the program and make it what it is so that you all are having great experiences. But our focus with growth sector is really to make sure that we are connecting students like yourselves to high quality, high paying jobs in STEM. And we're beginning that process because you all are interning this summer, right? So we're really looking to put students from various backgrounds into career pathways, getting your associates, getting your bachelor's degrees, and connecting you to high level research and internship opportunities with employers. All right, and so rude of me that I did not even introduce myself and our team. But for those of you who do not know me, my name is Cheryl Martinez. I'm the STEM program manager with growth sector. So you'll be working with myself throughout the summer, and you already have, and you probably already know our team because you interviewed with us. And I'll let Myra introduce herself as well.
Good morning, everyone. Good afternoon. It's Myra Perez. You've probably heard from me in various emails. Thank you for your patience with everything. I know it takes a minute, but I'm excited to be working with you again this summer, or for the first time this summer.
Yeah, thanks so much, Myra. And I wanted to also highlight a few of, I'm not sure if Rebecca's on the call. But Rebecca is our program coordinator, so you might be able to connect with Rebecca throughout the summer in terms of doing some one-on-one check-ins. And then I believe Christy's on the line too. Christy, do you want to unmute and introduce yourself?
Hi everyone,
Hello.
my name is Christy. I am the graduate intern, and this is my first time with Growth Sector, so I will be meeting with you guys for check-in. So really excited to meet all of you eventually. Yeah.
Yay, thanks, Christy. So yeah, that's our the team that you will primarily be interacting with via Growth Sector this summer, and we will all be here to support you throughout this entire experience.
Mhm.
Awesome. And here's just a quick look. I'm not sure how often students actually get to see this, but we wanted to be able to highlight and show you the various campuses that are represented on this call and throughout our program. Growth Sector is based in California, but we do obviously have programs in Northern and Southern California, but we have representation of students participating with our program in New Mexico, in Colorado, Florida, the DC Metro Baltimore area. And the program is constantly growing. So we just want you to know that you're in good company with like-minded students who all have similar goals to persist in engineering and STEM. And our goal really for you is as you are moving into these internships and placements, get to know your peers because you all are doing some really cool stuff out there. So hopefully you'll have the opportunity to connect with other interns through this program throughout the summer. And then here's just a quick look at some of the partners that we are working with this summer and beyond. So we have students who are interning at national labs around the country, from Berkeley National Lab to Lawrence Livermore, the National Renewable Energy Lab in Colorado. We have students who are doing university research at Cal State LA, at San Jose State, and working with partners in between, from large to smaller engineering firms within the industry as well. So just know that you, again, are in good company. And I would also say just make sure that you are remaining open, because if you didn't end up with a company that you was like your pinnacle of who you wanted to be with this summer, there are opportunities for next summer and beyond as well, as long as you stay connected to the program. I know we have a few students on this call who have interned previously or maybe did research with us last summer, and they're back again. So just know that those opportunities will continue as long as you are still enrolled at your college and still persistent with your program and participating on campus. All right, so as we're moving into internships, for some of you, this may be your first internship experience or research experience. For some of you, you may be returning. But we want to highlight a few key things that you should be keeping in mind. So obviously, this is your orientation specifically with Growth Sector. Many of you will likely be having a orientation on site with your actual employer or your faculty on campus as well. So just keep that in mind. So we want you to make sure that you have the key information before your first day. So everybody should be in contact with their sites, with their mentors that you're going to. So make sure that you know where you're going on the first day, you know where you're reporting to, you know about parking information, and where exactly you need to be on day one. What time do I need to be there? So making sure that you're especially on time for the first day, of course, but just in general throughout your placement. Talk to your mentor about what dress is like for the first day. So likely you shouldn't be showing up in a t-shirt or joggers or anything like that, especially on day one. But just keep in mind, so check in with your mentor what dress should be like. If you're not sure, we always err on the side of caution with business casual, at least on the first day, and you can sort of observe what everybody else is doing. Give yourself plenty of time, as I mentioned before, knowing your what building you're going to. I know some of you are on larger campuses, maybe at a national lab. You might not be sure where you're going on day one, so give yourself plenty of time along with traffic or what that commute might be like. We also advise that you should really connect with your mentor, whether before or day one or within that first week, around what are expectations with your mentor. What do they want to see you accomplish? What are their key learning objectives? What can you be doing to be a successful intern in the eyes of your mentor, right? Some tips that we also think are super important is being able to really be proactive in your learning experience. So realizing that you're an intern, so you're really there to learn and absorb as much as possible. So yes, it's great that you're getting paid, but the end goal is really, I mean, getting paid, but also being able to get as much out of this experience as you can. So connecting with your mentor, being able to get your assignments done, but then also like not having like idle time. So talking to your mentor about like, okay, like once I finish this assignment, is there anything else that I can be doing, right? Are there projects within the department that I can be tackling? Is there something I should be reading to better equip myself? Because you want to make sure that you're leaving a lasting positive impression, but you also want to make sure that you're constantly learning. So I think that there's a tactful way to be able to do this, where we don't want you to be overstepping and going into like, I don't know, like secret rooms you shouldn't be going into, or reading files that you shouldn't be reading. However, being proactive, if you see like there's a need or a member on the team, like, hey, can I like help you if I finish like this assignment? Is that okay? I'd really like to learn more about this. So just being proactive in your learning is kind of like what we're trying to get at here. Also being an active note taker, we highly, highly recommend that you are keeping track of what you're doing in your internships. So of course you all got project descriptions, which maybe were like 3 to 4 sentences. We know you're going to be doing way more than that, right? So making sure that you're taking note, because we want you to be able to articulate your experiences in your internship and your research onto your resumes after your experience, right? We are hoping that you're at a national lab this summer. Maybe you'll be able to go back and reapply, right? But we need to be able to show the experiences that you're having this summer. So it's a little bit harder if you come to meet with like Myra or myself and you're like, hey, like I was at Berkeley National Lab this summer. How do I put that in my resume? Myra and I don't know what you did exactly. Only you know, right? So you need to be able to take notes and tell us what you did and some of the equipment that you worked with, projects that you worked with, so we can be able to best advise you in terms of updating your resumes.
And I would just add really quick too, you know, you don't have to do a whole thing like if you open up the notes on your phone or something, and at the end of each day, I would avoid doing it, you know, while you're at your internship, just because you don't want to look like you're on your phone doing something you're not supposed to be doing. But at the end of the day, when you're done, just do like a quick, like 2-3 lines or something about, you know, specifically what you worked on. Again, it'll be a great refresher. And when you go to update your resume, you'll just have some really great notes that we can, or that you can input into your resume. And it's just going to be a lot better, because I can't tell you how many times I've met with students, you know, a semester after or the year after. I'm like, hey, so what did you do last summer? You know, and it takes them a while to kind of remember because you did a lot, right? And it's been a minute. So just get yourself in the habit of at the end of every day taking notes on what you did.
And then it's also super helpful just because you're going to be timekeeping as well. So you're going to need to be inputting into the system what you did each day anyways. So this is a great tool.
Oops, there we go. And then just a reminder again on dress, Cheryl already mentioned this. If for whatever reason you can't get a hold of your mentor doesn't, you know, kind of specify what the dress is, kind of like the safeguard for everyone, I would say, is do smart casual. You know, still looking like $1 million, but you know, on a nice, great budget. You no need to go out and buy anything crazy. Just again, looking put together. You know, for guys, you can do, you know, the a neutral button down. You can do some just, you know, casual shoes, you know, some chinos or something, khakis. For women, same thing. You can do like a button up that you would wear maybe in like an office setting. You can do pants. You know, again, more of the like sleeker looking ones, and then, you know, some flats. That's always a kind of a good bet, a good safe bet. So again, it's always better to be a little more dressed up, especially on your first day, once you kind of get the gist of what the vibe is for your office or your location where you're at your site. All right, and a couple more things to consider. Definitely use this internship opportunity to network. Again, we can't tell you how many times, especially for a lot of returning students this year. There were quite a few students that were able to, because they did some great networking during their internship last year, were able to stay connected with their mentors. They were able to connect with other, engineers at the location, and they were able to be reconsidered and brought back for a second year internship. So you never know where these opportunities can lead. And so you want to make sure that you utilize this opportunity to really try to establish relationships. And a great refresher, I would say, would be to go onto our YouTube channel. A couple, what is it, weeks ago, a month ago, or something like that, Cheryl, we had Gabe Lomelli from LinkedIn come and talk to students about informational interviews and stuff, and really gave just some great tips on how to connect with individuals. And that way, again, you are able to get so much more out of these internship opportunities. Or if you remember a name from another engineer who's working at the company that you're at this summer, connecting with them via like LinkedIn and stuff. So I would definitely make sure to check that out. Another thing you want to make sure is, again, establishing a relationship with your mentor. Cheryl already mentioned talking to them beforehand about, what are your goals for this internship? And of course, they already have some things that they're going to want to go over with you, but, this is your time to also ask questions and, see what you can get more out of this as well. So, again, discussing what your goals are, asking them about, hey, I do have a particular interest in XYZ. Is there someone here apart from you as well that I can possibly connect with and just kind of learn from as well? Keeping in mind that these people are also great, especially if you do a great job, which we know you all will. These people are great to have connections for future recommendation letters, right? What better person to ask than someone who's in the industry, who has seen your work, who has worked closely with you, to write a recommendation letter for you. So again, that's why you always kind of want to give your A game, because you never know what you can use these opportunities for. And then last but not least, make sure to stay connected with STEM Core via our social medias. We have a great podcast, if you haven't already checked it out, called Motivate, which we have one of the hosts here, Cheryl. We have some really great topics, some great speakers who have come in, have spent some time just really picking their brains and everything about some really neat topics. So definitely check that out. I'm sure Cheryl could probably email, the list of, we could email the interns the link and stuff, so that way you can check it out. And then we also have our Instagram and LinkedIn. Instagram, I'm sure most people have that. We definitely put reminders on there about upcoming events. This summer in particular, we're going to be doing a lot of like spotlights and sharing about different programs that we have running through the summer. And you never know, you might be actually given a shout out or featured on our social media this summer, and even throughout the regular academic semester, because we do like to post spotlights and everything of our students. And if you are connected to us, we will definitely try to look you up and link you to that like post, or whether it be on like LinkedIn or Instagram. So yeah, definitely check us out. All right. And we did want to share a little quick story that we actually just came across, right, Cheryl? Oops, sorry.
Yeah, no, I don't remember whose part this was, but like exactly what Myra was saying earlier in terms of like networking, especially with like your mentor within your departments or at your organization, can turn into something great. So for instance, Salvador he got an internship through the STEM Core program last summer at Lockheed Martin, did an excellent job, really had a great experience, and spoke with Salvador just a few weeks ago, and he was like, hey, I'm going back to Lockheed. And I was like, I don't see you on our list as a STEM Core intern. He's like, no, like I stayed connected with my mentor, and they moved into a new department. I really was interested in the projects and the work that he was doing, and he brought me on to the new department, and I'm continuing to intern on directly with him. not through the STEM core. And that is the type of success story that like we love to hear. One, a student really utilizing and leveraging their primary experience into additional experiences. Like we don't expect this to be your last internship. And our goal for all of you is if you like where you are, we want you to be hired there, hopefully, right? Maybe while you're continuing your education. Take Salvador's experience and just run with it and realize that this can be you not only next summer, but we have several interns who get asked to stay on during the academic year because they did a great job. Maybe you're working part-time during the academic year. So just know that those experiences are possible as well. So just wanted to be able to highlight that for you all.
All right. Okay, this was you, I think, Cheryl.
Okay. You can tell we're so rehearsed. So one thing that we want to make sure is we're not just like throwing you all out into your internships after we leave here today. So obviously you'll be interacting with us specifically around timekeeping and getting you paid throughout the summer. But our growth sector team will be checking or will be reaching out to you all to sign up for a one-on-one check-in. We want to hear how your internship is going. We want to make sure that you feel supported, that you're having a positive experience. So we will be reaching out to you probably within the first couple of weeks of your internship to sign up for slot to connect with our team, somebody on our team. So these are literally no longer than 20 minutes. Please come into this session with updates. So what are you working on? How often am I meeting with my mentor? Those are the things that we need to be able to hear from you in this check-in. Are things not going so well? Like we want to hear that as well, right? So just like this is an opportunity for you to be able to share, and just know that we will also be checking in with your mentors as well, just to see progress in terms of how you will be doing. So that's just something to note. You should be on the lookout for that because that is a requirement of your internship.
Yeah, and just again, a reminder that this is it'll be I like to call it a safe space. So again, we definitely want to hear like how it really is going and everything. So you'll definitely be seeing either me, Christy, Rebecca, Cheryl, meeting with you. So yeah, just definitely come prepared. It's a safe space for you to share how everything's going on. All right, and then testimonials. This is also going to be a requirement for our interns. And as I mentioned earlier, we love to showcase your experiences, not only with, all of our STEM core, campus partners, academic partners, but also our employer partners. They love to see, as you guys know, these are paid internship opportunities, and we work very hard throughout the year to find funding and everything to continue these amazing opportunities. But in order to really do what we can to find funding, we need to show these experiences that you guys are able to have. And so collecting these testimonials from you is definitely a huge help in this. So what we're going to require from you is to write a short testimonial answering the following questions and include a picture. What I'm going to do is you guys will be receiving an email reminder that's going to remind you about signing up for a one-on-one check-in. And then also a reminder about the testimonial. And for the testimonial, you don't have to email us back. You're going to have a link where to a Google form where you're going to be able to put your testimonial into. It's just easier to collect. And there you can also upload your picture. So, and in regards to picture, we would love to see one of you at your actual internship. We know that for some internship sites, it can be a little tricky, especially the national labs. They're very particular about not allowing cameras and stuff into certain areas, and that's totally understandable. We've had students take pictures in front of the sign outside, the lab name outside or somewhere near a building or something. So you don't necessarily have to take one with what you're working with. But again, if you can, that'd be really, really neat. And so I'm going to show you some examples here. So again, this right here, Eric Magana, he's from Santa Ana College from, I think 2-3 years ago, did a great picture of him with Caltrans out in the field. This is Jose Pineda. Again, he was at Cal State LA, I believe last summer. A great picture of him working on a project. And then this is Dina. She is up north, and she was also working with Caltrans. A lot of the Caltrans students got some pretty cool like beach shots, the ones working up north, so that was pretty cool. But again, just an idea. This is what we turn the testimonials into. If you follow us on our socials already, you will have seen that we post these on LinkedIn, Instagram, all that good stuff. Whether it be like we take a short quote from your longer testimonial, or we share the whole thing. Again, it's just, this is a visual so you can see what we use it for. So definitely make sure that you give us take some time to answer those questions. No need to worry about the questions right now. They will be on the Google form, so you can refer back to it when you're writing you're doing your write-up.
Yeah, and just a heads up that the deadline will be July 19th, so we'll be sending that to you next week, just after today's session. So that will be coming towards you. And if we don't get it for you by July 19th, Growth Sector will be following up with you. So just make sure that you get that back to us as well. And it's also a heads up too that we will send these back to your mentors as well, so that they love to be able to highlight like the great work that you did being an intern at the National Renewable Energy Lab. And that convinces like more mentors to want more STEM core interns for them to internally fund. So it's a great opportunity to really showcase like the great work that you all are doing.
Yeah, and actually, now that you mentioned that, Cheryl, it's pretty neat because just yesterday, me and Christy were looking up 2 interns, and yeah, they were featured on Cal State LA's the CSU LA Smart Program page. And again, it's really neat to be able to see yourself on whether it be like one of the lab pages or one of our employer partner pages. So again, keep in mind that these things are definitely used, and yeah, just a great opportunity.
Thanks, Myra.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so we love to be able to hear from our interns about their experiences. So throughout the summer, we will be requiring a pre-internship survey and a post-internship survey. And this is really just your feedback. So if you have your phone out, please scan this QR code. I also just put the link in the chat as well. 20 questions, should probably take you less than 7 minutes to complete. But it's really, the goal is to assess where our interns are starting, so what you're hoping to get out of your internship and just more background information about you. And then at the end, like within the last couple weeks of your internship, you'll receive another link from us for a post-internship survey, trying to learn a little bit more from you in terms of like what you learned, your confidence, and just how your internship overall went. This is super helpful. It might just seem like busy work that Growth Sector is having you do. No, we use this in like our grant writing processes as we connect with more employer partners. So it's super, super helpful that we collect this information from you. And again, if we don't get a response from you, our Growth Sector team will be we'll be following up with you because this is a necessary part of the internship process.
Yes.
And the link is in the chat, so please make sure you grab that. So just a quick overview, and Myra, while I'm doing this, if you can check if Julie's in if she's joined the meeting so far.
Yeah, not yet.
But I wanted to highlight for you all the difference between a contractor and an employee. So you all know that through Growth Sector, if Growth Sector is paying you, you're being hired as a contractor, not an employee. Employee has is typically a W-2 employee. So if you've worked at like a Target or like Starbucks before, W-2, they withhold taxes from you on every paycheck. As a contractor, you are getting a 1099 in January or in the new year, in the new tax year, right? So you're getting a 1099, which is similar to a W-2 with the exception that there's no withholding. So if we told you that your internship stipend is $7,000, you are getting $7,000 straight up, right? I see people's ears perking up. That doesn't mean you don't pay taxes on it though. So with your 1099, when you file with your tax preparer, if you're using like TurboTax or whatever, you are going to owe money back on that, on the stipend that you receive. So we are not tax professionals, and I cannot tell you how much you should withhold. I encourage you though, if you've ever been a W-2 employee, look back at your pay stubs to see how much was withheld, like the percentage, and then work that into your stipends this summer. Because the last thing you want is like you spend your whole stipend and then you get, you do your taxes in January and it tells you that you owe X amount of dollars that you weren't prepared for. It's gonna come back. So just know that you are going to be taxed on this in some way. So just be prepared for that. I would encourage, you're gonna be paid bi-weekly through the program. So withhold a little bit each pay cycle. That way you are prepared for tax season come January. I see, I'll take a quick question from Kaveh, but I will say that we're going to leave time at the end for Q&A as well. But I'm assuming you might have a direct question about the 1099. So feel free to.
Sure, that's good.
Hi, how's it going? My question is directly in regards to like 1099.
Sure.
Are there any typical deductions that people typically do in this program or in this type of research program?
Yeah, great question. Again, we've been coached not to give tax advice, but that's why I'm saying really go back to your previous W-2s if you've worked before, or even do a quick search for like if you typically file like single in this income, what's a typical withholding? And that's the amount that I would encourage you to withhold. I just can't, I know what I would withhold, but I can't tell you that because then I will get in trouble. But good question. All right. So yeah, I will send all this contractor information out as well, but just know that, and I will remind you throughout the summer, but I just have been a contractor for a number of years previously, and you do need to withhold so that you're not surprised later on. Okay, so going into a quick note about ADP, Myra.
Yes. So all of you should have received a lovely email from me and Cheryl, but probably me, about receiving an email directly from ADP. We used ADP this summer. Or we're using ADP this summer to do the student onboarding, basically all the paperwork that we need to get you processed to get paid. So everyone on this call should have received an invite to create a profile on ADP. I know ADP has been a little glitchy for a couple people, and so I just want to say thank you for your patience in dealing with this. I know it has not been fun, but please make sure if this does not sound familiar to you, if you didn't get an email from ADP saying that you need to create a profile and fill out some important information, please make sure, not right now, but please make sure that you shoot me or Cheryl an email. We'll include our email in the chat for you. But yeah, if you have not received anything, if this sounds completely foreign to you, make sure you email us, okay? We are human, and so, you know, sometimes things happen, but we definitely try to take meticulous notes, and everyone should have received an invite for this. But again, no need to bring it up during the session, just email us directly, okay?
And the other thing I wanted to highlight too is that ADP is specifically for onboarding. So once you complete your onboarding paperwork, so in ADP, it's like your W-9 that we're going to have you complete, your contract agreement, and a couple of other documents for like media releases. Once you finish that, you're probably not going to have to go back into ADP again this summer. The second half of today's orientation is going to go over what you will be logging your time in bi-weekly. So just stand by for that.
Yeah. All right.
And then we just wanted to highlight quickly your offer letters. So a lot of you have already done a great job in terms of completing your ADP onboarding paperwork. We sent out, Myra did a great job of sending like very detailed explanations in terms of like, this circled in your offer letter is where you plug into here on your contractor agreement. But when we say offer letter, we are referring to this. So I'd say about 85% of you on this call did receive an offer letter. I know that there are a few of you who didn't, and you likely got an email from me saying like, this is what you would plug into ADP. But this is like the details of your internship. So I would say, again, when we're referring to offer letter, we're referring to this. So it's giving an overview of like what we know your internship dates to be, your proposed hours per week, your compensation, and all of that. I would also note that a couple of things that we really want to highlight is one, you cannot work overtime. You are a contractor. we have a stipend amount that has been granted to us, whether it's through a grant or a foundation. X amount, what it says on your contract agreement, we cannot pay you more than that. So if you are allotted to work 40 hours a week, you can only bill for the time that you worked. You're a contractor, not an employee. So every year we get the question, oh, well, at the lab, we're closed for Juneteenth or 4th of July. Do I get the holiday? Did you work? Right? Did you log hours? If you didn't log hours, you cannot put that on your timesheet. And that's just the breaks of being a contractor. So just want to make that abundantly clear. If you did not work the hours or that day, you cannot log the time. Okay.
And actually, right
We
now,
go over the allotted hours. You cannot go over the allotted hours. We can only pay you for the amount. So you guys are working 40 hours a week. So for most of your internships, if you're working okay, let me put it this way. If you are working 10 weeks as per your offer letter, 40 hours a week, you are allotted 400 hours for your summer internship. That's it. We cannot pay you for 407 hours. So if the work starts to go over, oh, lots of questions now. Yeah, so your mentors are aware that you are allotted 40 hours a week. So they should not be asking you to work extra hours because you cannot bill for extra hours. Do we need the information in the second half? You do not need the Zane. Thank you for that. No, what I emailed you is all that you need. You just need to plug that into ADP and that should be good. Great. We're going to have time for Q&A at the end, but Myra, did we have another slide before we got to Julie?
oh yes, just this
A
one.
couple more. So yeah, we just want to highlight, so we're about to get into the pay schedule. So if you're not being paid by growth sector, you can opt to jump off now, or you can stick around for another 20 minutes because we'll have Q&A at the end. Everybody will be emailed this as well, who's being paid by growth sector, but we're highlighting the pay schedule for the summer. So these are the dates that you are going to, your timesheets via QuickBooks, which we're about to go over, are going to be due. So the first, and again, only if you worked. So this is the question I always get every year. Did I work, if you worked between May 29th and June 11th, did your offer letter say it was your start date, not you just decided to work? So if your start date on your offer letter said June 3rd, you begin working June 3rd, June 4th, June 5th, whatever, you're logging those hours into what we're about to show you, QuickBooks time. And the deadline is June 11th at noon Pacific Standard Time. Let me say that again. Only if you worked in the participation/work period is when you are logging time in QuickBooks time. Not work that you decided to do if your start date hasn't begun. Work assigned to you by Caltrans. Caltrans says you're starting on June 3rd. These are the hours you're working. That's what you logged. If you decided to do your own research on May 29th because you were super excited, that's great, but we will not pay you until the start date of your offer letter.
And then one thing to note too, if you see it says hours must be submitted by 12 p.m. Pacific Standard Time in QuickBooks on the due date that it's due. Now, you might tell us, okay, hey, but 12 p.m., you know, I'm still working at that time. Not a problem. We still need you to log your hours. So if you know that you're going to be working on June 11th until the end of the day, let's say 3 p.m. or 4 p.m., then you need to, obviously you're going to estimate, right? So even though you have to log those hours in by 12, I would say try to do it before then. You just need to know, okay, I'm leaving at 4, so just make sure to include those other hours, okay? So you want to break down the total hours that you're going to work for that day. Even if you're working past the 12 p.m. cutoff, include all the hours that you're doing for that day.
Okay, I want to be sensitive to time. Tanner, yes, to your question in the chat. Because we have Julie on the line too, so I want to make sure we give her enough time. And we'll leave time for Q&A at the end of this. So again, we've been insinuating this summer and we're going to send you the link and everything that you need, but you are going to be logging all of your time into Intuit QuickBooks. That's what you are going to be timekeeping in. So that should be starred on your browser in terms of where you're going to be logging your time daily, and you're submitting bi-weekly on those pay dates that were on the previous screen. Note in big and bold, it is your responsibility to complete and submit your hours on the deadline, by the deadline. If you do not submit by the deadline, you are not going to be paid in that pay cycle. I want to make that very clear to you. So I will always send a reminder a few days before saying like, hey, remember your timesheets are due on this day. If you just decide not to hit enter and like submit my time card, we can't do it for you, and we cannot hold up every other intern's pay because you did not submit. All that means is that you're going to be paid late on the next pay cycle. We cannot do in between pays. So just be abundantly aware that if you want to be paid, that you need to adhere to the schedule that has been sent. So I encourage you to put those dates in your calendar so that you know 12 p.m. If you're on the East Coast, that's 3 p.m. 12 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. You need to submit on June 11th, June 25th, July 9th, if you are working, if you worked the work period.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I want to stop prepping on this. Julie, I know that you are here. So Julie Gast is here with us, who is our awesome rep from QuickBooks, who's going to give an overview in terms of what you will be entering every other week into QuickBooks time. So please make sure you're perking up and listening to this part, because she is the expert who will be able to guide you through this process. So Julie, thanks so much for being here, and we're going to turn it over to you.
Awesome. Thanks, y'all. Appreciate it. Hi, everybody. Thanks for letting me crash the party today so I can walk you guys through QuickBooks Time. We've been working really hard to make this extremely difficult, so I'm sure you guys will have a lot of questions. I'm just kidding. You guys are going to love this. It's so easy to use. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen here. Now, I am actually signed in as an employee, so this is exactly what you guys will see. All right, you guys should be able to see QuickBooks Time here.
Yes.
This is the web dashboard. This is exactly what you guys will be using to enter your hours. The first time that you log in, this getting started guide does pop up for you. Feel free to use that. It's a great tool to help remind you what it is you need to do in the account. Simply hit play. It'll walk you through how you can enter time. When you get tired of seeing this, because it does open every single time you log in, just uncheck the box down here at the bottom. Disappears from the menu bar at the top. When you close it out, lives up here in your question mark. All right, so if you ever need to review it again, it's right there. All right, this is your time entry window. This is where your hours are going to show. The hours that you will see are the hours that you enter. You will not see time for anybody else on the team, just your hours. You have options for entering time. This is the time card if you want to enter your total hours. You can enter the information this way. Notes are required. If you don't add notes to the time card and you try to save, it's going to give you an error. All right. So we'll go ahead and put 4 hours right there. I'll put 8 hours right here. We'll leave the notes blank and I'm going to hit save. It's telling me there's a problem. You'll notice that it tells you the date that we're missing the information for, so that you can easily say, oh, all right, it was the 8 hours I entered on the 21st. I forgot my note. So you can easily come back in here and enter your note.
Can I just add, notes are what you all did that day in your internship. So
Yes.
Met with
Yes.
my mentor, worked on project X, and then went to see a speaker. So just like we want to hear what you did for that day. Doesn't
Yes.
need super detailed, but we need more than like a word.
Yes.
If you remember, this is what we were referring to about taking notes, like on your phone on the note app. Write down what you did. So because that is what you're going to include in this note section. You need to make sure that you let us know what you did for that day. Sorry, Julie.
Oh, you're totally great. And you guys can type pretty much a novel in here if you want to. There's really almost no character limit. So if you're somebody like me and you want to see this guy super big, check it out. You can move it and you can see everything that you write there. All right. Now, if you make a mistake to your time, even after you save it, as long as you haven't submitted your hours, you're okay to make a change. So if you recognize, oh, I didn't work 8 hours, it was actually 6, you can come in and make that correction so long as you haven't submitted your time yet. Okay. Now, if you're wanting to keep track of your hours, let me go ahead and save that. if you want to keep track of your hours with your in and out time, you do have that option as well. Inside timesheets versus manual time card, you'll go to add time. It defaults to time in, time out. So if you want to pay attention to very clearly exactly the amount of hours that you're working, you can then plug it in by the day, by the exact time that you started. So like, let's say for instance, on the 21st, I started at 6 a.m. and I stopped at 4. Okay, there's the 10 hours that I worked today. I'm going to enter my notes for what I did. All the details. And then I'm going to save my time card. Okay, and then you have the ability to see your in and out time for how much time you spent working. Okay.
And to be clear, most of you will not be working 10-hour days.
That's true.
Unless
Yes.
that's been said with, but I just want to be clear because they're seeing the example that most of you are about 40 hours a week, so it's 8 hours a day, just to clarify.
If you've entered your time and you've saved it, again, you can come into the manual time card. You can make your edits here, or you can do it directly from here, hit the pencil and make the edit, make the change. Okay. At the end of your cycle, it is your responsibility, as the team has been so kind to mention to you guys, to submit your time. You're going to click this little button here at the top. So submit time. You're going to go up to the day that you're supposed to submit those hours for, and you're going to say submit that time. It's going to ask you to attest that the hours, the information that you've entered is accurate and true. You'll then say submit. When you submit your hours, you are locked out. So if you realize after the fact that you made a mistake, you'll want to reach out to your admin team and let them know, oh, shoot, I made a mistake. Can you make the correction for me? They'll reject your time card, send it back to you with an alert to say, hey, it's unlocked, make your correction. You'll make the correction, resubmit your time with your stamp of approval to say, yep, here it is. I've made the correction, and then payroll can be completed. Again, you guys want to make sure that this is done because this does hinder your payroll. So make sure you do submit that time at the end of the deadline. Okay. Now I don't want to lock this because I do want to delete the hours since I'm not on a contract with y'all and I don't want to get paid for this. So I'm going to close this out here and I'll go ahead and stop the submission. If you guys want to look at reports for your time, you do have options. You have your payroll and itemized total time. Since you guys are not tracking information related to jobs, customers, projects where you're breaking information down, both of these reports will show you pretty much the same information. Payroll report, when you run that for the date range, it shows you the amount of hours that you've worked. Okay. Now, again, no overtime, right? So this should always show 0. All right. These are the amount of hours that you work. When you click on the line, it's going to break everything down for you so you can see it. Itemized total time, very similar. Gives you the same option for running the report. You'll choose the date range you want to run it for, and it's going to show you basically what you did in a pie chart graph. Okay. So it shows you the amount of hours that you worked, tells you what group you're in, and all the grand totals here. So just some nice reports for you guys to view. And then again, you won't see anything for anybody else. This is strictly for your time and your time alone. All right. Okay. Looks like we've got a few questions in here. So let's see. All right. So they got some questions about the paid lunch that we're still working on doing a couple of settings, guys. So you guys will receive some notifications for the lunch. For those of you that are not paid for lunch, you guys will have the option to take that break.
Yeah, I had responded to that in the chat for students. Just confirm with your mentor. So if you're on site at Caltrans from 9 to 5, that's your 8 hours, right? And if they're fine with your lunch being included with that, that's fine, 8 hours. But we just can't go over. If your offer letter said 40 hours a week and you're going to Caltrans for 8 hours a day, that's fine, as long as they're not saying that you need to be there for an extra hour to make up lunch, because we can only pay you for the 40 hours for the week. Does that make sense? So just double check with your mentor, but we're fine with that as long as you don't go over your 40 hour. If you are 40 hours a week, just don't go over the 40 hours a week.
And then Scott, I see your question here about listing time work for the next day. Yes. So if hours are due at 12 p.m. on Tuesday, on Monday night, you know the hours that you're working for Tuesday, you do have the ability to enter that information in.
I see Scott asking, are we able to list the time worked for the next day? Since payroll is due at 12 p.m. on Tuesdays and we can fill out Monday night. You can project, but if you're working, yeah, so we would prefer Tuesday, but you can do it Monday night technically, Julie, right?
Yes, you can. You
Um,
can. You want to be careful, like your team says, you guys have you guys are fixed at 40 hours, whatever your max limit is, you want to make sure you don't go over that. So if you're going to project, you want to make sure that if you say you're working 4 hours that day, that you're only working for 4 hours.
Exactly, and then we will also be checking with, your mentors will be verifying your hours as well. So just make sure we'll be checking with them in terms of what you submit, to just make sure that your hours are accurate and match with what they know that you worked. Same with like the notes that you take, they'll be able to see that as well.
And Julie, there was a question if there's this website in app form.
It is in an app form. You do have the ability to use it on a mobile app. I don't know, Cheryl, Myra, and team, if we had discussed that we were allowing them to do that, but that is an option. They can download a mobile app, and you do have the ability to enter your time there. In the mobile app, it does give you the ability to clock in. So there is a little bit of a difference where in the dashboard here, you don't have a punch clock. You're just using a timesheet.
Yeah, I think we prefer the timesheet, but we're fine with the mobile app if they want to do it there.
Yep. And if you guys do want to do that, I'm still working on some communications for y'all. So I'll have a document. I know that the team probably sent out a slide deck for you guys to kind of review some of this. There'll be another slide deck coming for the mobile app for you guys as well.
Julie, there's a question saying, say I submit and need to correct it, will I be able to correct it after the deadline?
No, if you submit your time. Are you sure you want to submit your time through the 24th? A manager admin will be required to unlock this if you need to make changes. So make sure before you hit that beautiful blue button to submit your time that you've gone through and you've reviewed the information here. If you recognize after the fact, so let's say it's Tuesday afternoon, you're sitting at home on the couch, you're like, oh my gosh, I made a mistake. You already submitted your time. Reach out to your admin leadership team, let them know that you made that mistake and it needs to be corrected. They have the option to correct it for you, but chances are they'll reject that time card and send it back to you. So that then you have the ability to hit the edit, go and make whatever changes you need to, save it, and then resubmit that time frame. Okay. So
And
be
that's
careful not
our
to
growth
do that.
sector team. So we'll take a look at this before we process it. So make sure that you're doing your job and that you did it correctly, because we're going to be looking at like almost 100 of these. But if we see that like you've submitted like 40 or for the pay period, 84 hours, and it should really be 80 hours for we're going to kick it back to you and say, like, this is not correct, please fix it. But just make sure that you are doing your part. I saw a question, Adams, are we being paid bi-weekly? Yes. So you're referring back to the timesheet or the pay schedule that we had showed previously. So it's a bi-weekly. Are we submitting timesheets to your mentor? No, you are not. You're plugging it into here and we will connect with your mentor to verify your hours. Survey link will be emailed after today's session.
The daily limit on hours, you guys should not be working more than 8 hours in a day. California law is very strict about that, though you are, from my understanding, I'm not sure if they're 1099 or actually hourly employees. However, the maximum on the timesheet, it will not let you enter more than 24 hours in a day.
Yeah. So again, check with your mentor if they're okay with you doing the extra hours if like you need to make up, but I just want to be clear, we cannot pay you extra time. So if your offer letter said that you are 40 hours a week, you're 40 hours a week. So on your bi-weekly session, it should add up to 80 hours. Can I work 44 hours one week and 36 the next? Fine with us in terms of billing, but again, check with your mentor. So if something happened where like your mentor is going to be out next Friday, so we said, okay, like we're not working this day, and you check with them and say, can I make it up and do like extra hours this week to compensate? We're fine with that in terms of billing, but you just need to let us know so that we don't kick it back to you when we see that you've worked 44 hours one week. So just make sure you communicate it.
Good questions.
Yeah, these are great.
Great questions. All right, guys, like I said, we tried really hard to make this super difficult as far as tracking time. Super easy. You guys are simply going to enter in and out times. If you're on the phone and you want to use that, you can clock in and out. This will probably be your preferred method, entering time manually here. Make sure again, you enter your notes. That's going to be critically important. If you do not enter notes, you cannot save your time and the system will yell at you and say, hey, you didn't enter your notes. Make sure you enter notes. Okay. If you make a mistake on the timeline, you can just delete these. Just like that. All right, my friends. That is QuickBooks time. Do we have any other last minute questions here about how the system works?
That's great. That means you are super clear, Julie. So this link, I think we'll be migrating after you complete your ADP process, and we wanted to make sure that you heard from Julie first before we sent out the invitation. So we'll be able to get that to all of you in the next few days. So just expect that as well. That you should be getting, Julie, right? An invite is how it works?
Yep.
Good times? Okay.
Yep, you guys will receive an invitation. The invitation actually, let me show you what that looks like. It is this guy right here. This is the invitation email that you will receive. It looks exactly like this. Comes from a do not reply at intuit.com. You'll click accept invitation. And it will walk you through the process of how to sign in. Okay. And if you guys have any trouble once you receive the invitation, don't hesitate to reach out to your leadership team. They've got access to me, and I'm more than happy to help you guys with anything that you have issues with or have questions about. All right.
Julie, thank you so much.
You guys are so welcome. Thanks very much for letting me crash the party. I appreciate it. And I look forward to hearing from you guys. If anybody has any questions, just let me know, and I'll put together a slide deck for you guys here over the weekend with the mobile app so that you guys have that to share with your team.
Great. Thank you, Julie.
You bet, guys. Have a great weekend. Take care.
Care.
Bye.
All right, everybody. So we are going to open it up for Q&A. So I'm going to get to the chat first because I see a few coming up. And please, so I'm going to leave the recording on because I know that you guys are going to want to refer back to this. And I also know there are several students who we talked to who couldn't make it today. So I want them to be able to hear some of the questions. If you have specific questions about your very specific situation, I'm going to ask that you reach out to us right after today's session, either via email, or we'll stay on for a few minutes afterwards after I stop the recording to address your very specific case. But in terms of like what can be applicable to the whole group, I'm going to try to get to those questions. I see a question from Scott. Do we need to provide images of stipends in our Google Drive? I saw there was a stipends folder. Myron?
I'm not sure. Actually, I was wondering about that too. What Google Drive were you referring to, Scott?
Because there was a student folder that we sent out, right?
Yeah.
Stipends folder in there? No, but you guys do not, in short, no. So I'm not sure what you're referring to, Scott, but you do not need to provide images of your stipends. That's no. And again, it's 11 o'clock, so if you have to jump off, that's fine. I'll be sending out the recording of today's session. But if you have time, please listen, because I'm sure a lot of you will have this question, and it will save myself from having to answer you what somebody else asked. Is our leadership team the person at the job site, or is it someone with growth sector? I'm not sure which leadership team or Alice, if you can clarify what you mean in terms of where you heard that piece of it. If it's approvals for QuickBook Time, that's growth sector. So you'll be connecting with Myra, myself, Christy. So hopefully that answers your question.
Yeah.
Who do I send an email to if I have not received a confirmation ADP email? Please email Myra and myself.
Yeah, I'll put my email right now in the chat.
The CCI STEM Core team. The CCI STEM Core Summer Google Drive for the student folder. That's not us, Scott. That sounds like this is information you're getting directly from the lab, the CCI STEM Core. So I would follow up with the, I think you're at Berkeley National Lab. So follow up with whoever you've been working with in terms of onboarding there, because it's a separate process. Oh, okay, Alice, if we need to unlock the QuickBooks, that's growth sector. Can the timesheet include hours on the weekend? Please check with your mentors on site if you're allowed to complete work over the weekend, but again, it needs to stay within your allotted time. So if you were missing, I think Adams, you're at Cal State LA. So if you were only at 30 hours, let's say, and you still had work to get done, you have hours left, you can bill it, but it has to be within your allotted time for the week.
Mhm. And again, don't worry, we will be sending out a recording of this and visuals and everything. So
All right, and I'm putting again the pre-survey, the internship survey. Please just click on the link, have it open in your browser. If you can get to it now/this afternoon, that would be great. If we don't receive it from you by next week, we will be following up with you. So just take 7 minutes to complete it. Are we allowed to take days in case of illness? Yes, you are, but you won't be paid for it, unfortunately. So holidays, sick time, you guys are contractors. So you can only be paid for the time that you actually work. I know it sucks. I was a contractor for a number of years. It doesn't include benefits. This is literally just for the hours that you're working and you're billing for.
And actually, right now that I'm seeing the names that are left here for today, please make sure you check if you have completed all of your documents on ADP. I see a couple of you right now, and I'm not going to call out anyone, no worries, but I see a couple of names on here that I know I just checked yesterday, and not all of your information on ADP is completed yet. So please make sure you log into ADP and check that you have completed your payment information, your like I know some people haven't completed putting in their like social security, stuff like that. Make sure you go in and everything is done, because without that information, we will not be able to move forward and process you to be able to get paid. So make sure you're checking your emails, check your spam, that you know, and go directly into the ADP website and make sure. This will be the only time that you're going to have to really mess with ADP is at this beginning stage, so we can get you set up. So please make sure you go back in and check that everything's good to go.
Mm-hmm. Thanks, Myra. Darlie is asking, how do we ask for time off for previous plans, like an orientation for school? Check with your mentor, please. Just let them know that like I have an orientation for school this day. Is it okay if I am not here? Again, if you're not at site, you cannot bill for those hours. So I just want to make that very, very clear.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, we'll be sending this recording after today's session, along with all the resources that we talked about. So just know that all of that's coming, QuickBooks, this recording, along with some notes for your testimonials, your check-ins, like all of that stuff is going to come to you after today's session.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I'm gonna, we're gonna stay on if people have more specific Q&A, but again, huge congratulations. We're excited to get started with you all this summer. Please know that this recording is always a resource for you, along with the email I'm gonna send out afterwards with very specific like links. So just make sure that you are referring to that as well. And congratulations, interns.